Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming to our monthly Children and Youth Services meetup. My name is Amelia. I am the lifelong learning librarian at the Montana State Library. This is a monthly meetup. As I said, it happens on the last Wednesday of each month from 10 to 11. It's an informal get-together. We do choose a topic of discussion each time, but anyone who works with children and families and teens in Montana is welcome to attend. And you're welcome to bring whatever questions, comments, issues, ideas that you have to this meeting, so you don't have to stay on topic. Today, the topic is STEM programming. So I have a few resources that I want to share with you all, as well as some time for discussion for all of us to share together. Before that, though, I do have a couple of announcements. Oh, I also wanted to let you know that this is being recorded. It will be posted on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it there later on. If any of you are interested in OPI credit, you can email Colette Bartow. Let me put her email in the chat box, and she will get you set up with the OPI credit. For all of our trainings in the future, Colette is going to be in charge of OPI credit. So anytime you attend something, just let Colette know. You can email her, let her know what training you went to, and she'll get you squared away. In terms of some announcements for you all, so I did want to remind everybody about MSL Learn, which is a Moodle site for the Montana State Library. It's where you can find self-paced learning. So we have a couple of courses available right now, and we will be adding to this more and more in the future. So we just launched it maybe a few months ago, so there's not a ton in there right now, but there's currently Montana State Library, A Greater State of Knowledge. That's a great introductory course to the state library and what it does. So if you have any board members, new staff members, volunteers, I would highly recommend that course. And then there's also an Aspen Basics Aspen course. So that is also very great for any of your library staff and board to take to learn the ins and outs of Aspen. Like I said, we will be adding more courses in the future. This is a permanent thing of the State Library now. So if you haven't had a chance to log in, I would recommend doing so, and we'll be announcing more courses in the future as they are added. I also wanted to let you know that there are technology CE opportunities that are happening. If your library is part of the Montana Library to Go consortium, as part of that, through Libby, we have access to Universal Class, which is a repository of self-paced courses on a variety of topics, but there's a whole section there on technology CE, and those will qualify for technology CE at the state library. So I would encourage you to check that out. It's available for you all as librarians to use, but it is also available for your patrons to use. So at the very least, check out how to get to Universal Class so that you can tell patrons about it, because there's a ton of great course material on there that they can take advantage of. And we have access to it until December 2023. So we'd really like for people to use it, start learning. They have all sorts of things, as I said, such as photography, Adobe Photoshop, human resources basics, a wide variety of topics. So do check that out if you haven't yet had a chance. There's also going to be tiny tech trainings that also qualifies for technology CE. Bobby DeMontany will be leading those, and those are happening on the last Tuesdays of each month at 10 a.m. They're called tiny tech trainings because they're only 30 minutes long, and they cover two very concrete topics. So if you're interested in seeing what the past Tiny Tech trainings have been, those are posted on YouTube and you can watch those. And then you can also preview on Aspen and look at the future Tiny Tech training topics. So you're welcome to join those or watch the recordings online if you aren't able to join live. Also, our summer reading monthly brainstorms are happening. We've had our January brainstorm, our February, and our March one, I believe. So our next one is happening in April, and those are listed in Aspen, and you can join as well. And that's just a casual get together to talk about all things summer reading. You can bring any questions, comments that you want to those, and I will also provide updates from CSLP, the Collaborative Summer Library Program. If you are not yet aware, the CSLP Summer Reading Manual is now available. So if you haven't yet accessed that, feel free to email me and I can send you the download manual access code to get that from the website. As a heads up, if any of you are interested in food programming at your library, we are having a webinar in May, on May 22nd at 1 p.m. It's from 1 to 3 p.m. And this is an introduction webinar to food programming in libraries. We're working with a library consultant. Her name is Rebecca Antill. She actually worked at the South Carolina State Library for many years. But during her time at the South Carolina State Library, she also worked a lot with food programming and has since been trained as a chef and does all sorts of cool food literacy programming stuff in South Carolina. So she's extremely knowledgeable, has worked with all kinds of libraries, big and small, and will be bringing lots of ideas, basic information, a broad overview of what food programming in libraries can look like at your library. So if you even have the slightest smidgen of interest in food programming, I would encourage you to attend that webinar just to learn more, see if you're interested in exploring that topic further. And after that intro webinar, we are looking for anywhere from 2 to 5 libraries who are interested in learning more with Rebecca and possibly developing food programs at their library after the summer. So this would be in the fall. So first step would be to sign up for that food programming and libraries intro webinar, and then seeing if you're interested in doing more from there. That webinar is available in Aspen. It's listed, and so you can register for it. It will be recorded and posted on YouTube as well, so you can watch it there. The next announcement is our next virtual programming is happening in April, on April 20th. It's with Dr. Kathy Cripps, a mycologist from, I think, MSU. And she's going to be doing a topic on foraging for wild mushrooms in Montana. So if you have any interest in that, please do register and sign up. We are still looking for library co-hosts, so if you would like to be an official co-host, please reach out to me and I can tell you how to do that. And then lastly, the MSL trunk program is available. This is just a reminder that we have 4 different trunks, actually 5 different trunks now. I just added the Ready to Read Goes Wild bear trunk. So there is a giant map of Montana you can borrow. Montana's aquatic life, past and present, the NASA at My Library STEM kits, and the bear trunk and the Bat Week celebration trunk. So any library is welcome to check that out and use it with their patrons. And shipping is free. It's covered by the state library. You just have to submit a request, and if we can honor it, we will. So let me know if you have any questions about that, and I will also show you where you can find out more information on that later on. Real quick, just to tell you about MSL Learn. Again, this is the self-paced courses that you can access. If you have not yet gone to this, I'm going to put the URL in the chat box. So it's mtstatelibrary.munami.com, and this is the home page. And so if you haven't yet logged in, you can use the same credentials as your Aspen login. So in the corner here, you can see login, and you can use the same exact Aspen email and login information there. Once you do that, it will give you send you an email at that email address just saying, please verify that this is you. And so once you click on that, you'll be able to log in and you'll be able to access the courses. This is the Montana State Library, A Greater State of Knowledge course that I was talking about. This is a great introduction to the state library. Again, perfect for new board members, new staff members, volunteers, anyone who wants to learn more about the state library. It's about 1 hour long and it will give you 1 CE credit in library administration. So this is a great place to start and get a feel for what a self-paced course on MSL Learn feels like. And you'll learn a lot about the state library as well. Okay, so now we will talk about STEM programming. I have a few resources that I want to share with you all, and also some discussion questions. So I guess we'll start with the discussion questions first, but hopefully you guys have had some time to brainstorm past successful or fun STEM activities that your patrons have enjoyed. So please feel free to share what STEM stuff have you done in the past that has worked. And feel free to put it in the chat box and I can read that out, or you can unmute yourself as well.
Hello, this is Molly. I'll just share that we invite PBS kids to come and they bring a STEM activity. So I love that because I just get to help out and I don't have to lead it. And they've done hovercrafts with us. And then we have bins. I have a Lego bin and a robot bin. And I just kind of let the kids explore them and tell them that they probably know more about the robots than I do. So that's where I am, but happy to learn. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing, Molly. I did put from PBS Kids. Molly, did you work with Deanna Midland, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Deanna is wonderful. She comes with all sorts of things. She's worked with many libraries across the state, so you're welcome to reach out to her and schedule her. She loves visiting with libraries and she's such a great partner. So yeah, that's a great program idea. They come with everything already and you just have to help out as needed. And the free play with Legos and robots, Molly, is another really popular program. I think I've heard of some people giving challenges to their kids, you know, build a skyscraper or, you know, build this sort of thing. I'm sure you can probably Google lots of different prompts and get some ideas there, but that's a really popular one as well. Any other successful STEM activities that you all have done?
I went to the StarNet Libraries at starnetlibraries.org. And I think you mentioned that, Amelia, and found a really fun activity. It was just really simple with string, a straw, and a balloon. And you hang up the string going horizontally across the room, and then you put the straw on the string and then tape a balloon onto it, and then the balloon powers through on the string, and they see how far that they can get the balloon to go by how much air you put in the balloon, and they just had really a ball with that.
Oh yeah, that sounds super fun. And very, very easy to do. Pretty simple setup.
Very simple. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chris says in the chat that we have weekly Lego night with challenges. So yeah, another really popular program. Chris, do you mind sharing some of the challenge ideas that you have? Feel free to put those in the chat box, or if you want to unmute, you can. Any other ideas? I heard about one the other day for story time with young children. A librarian said that she was going to do magic milk, which I hadn't heard of before, but you take a bunch of milk, you like pour it into a little bowl, and then you take Q-tips with food dye on them. And I think you pour some, maybe a couple drops of dish detergent or something in there in the milk. And then you use the different colored Q-tips and it diffuses the color in the milk. So depending on how old your age group is, you could just do the fun colors in milk, but there are some science concepts in there, I think, with surface tension and diffusion. So that could be a fun one to do. Chris says make a heart. Garden, yesterday they did a Superman for their weekly Lego challenges. So that's super fun.
Hi, this is Molly again. And I actually am going to do that magic milk this summer with summer reading program. I'm going to try to go half art or craft and then half science activities with the younger, all ages, I guess, of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I like that. I don't know. My spin is that I'm going to try to have environmentally concerned experiments, but they're not all going to be that. And I got those little simple science experiments from a book on our nonfiction shelf. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, looking in your own collection to see what, kids science stuff is in there. A lot of times they have great suggestions for things that you can do. And just also thinking about what things that I did when I was younger. I remember, I think at a summer camp, um, they were talking about oil and water repelling. And so they had us draw, um, I think with oil pastels on paper, and we made designs, and then we went over it with like watercolor. So you can make some really fun kind of abstract paintings. But wherever you've colored with the oil pastel, the water doesn't stay in that area. So that's a fun kind of art thing plus science thing. And I think it's a pretty common art activity. So there's probably lots of ideas out there to really demonstrate oil and water repelling each other, different challenges or different things that you could do with that particular art activity. Any other successful STEM activities that you guys have done? Out of curiosity, do you all do STEM activities regularly? Is it something like, monthly STEM club, or once a week you try and do a STEM activity? Or is it just whatever strikes your fancy? Are you trying to incorporate more STEM? Oh, let's see. Austin says, oh, for another STEM activity idea. Back when we did our monthly makerspace, we did a break it, make it, take it, where the kids would be able to destroy old electronic items and use craft materials to turn them into something else. That's always fun. It's nice to be a little bit destructive and stuff. But yeah, any comments about how often you plan STEM activities? Are you guys trying to be more regular with it? Or are your patrons asking for it? Or is it just something you feel like you have to do?
Oh, this is Molly again. Just tell me to not interrupt.
Oh no, go for it.
Okay. I do feel pressure to do them and I feel uncomfortable doing them, but I know that some of the kids really enjoy them. So I just try to use them in periodically, but that's why I'm making an effort with the summer reading program because I have gotten away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I guess at Halloween, the kids made Halloween costumes for their stuffed animals. And I called that a STEAM activity because I thought there was some engineering involved with the different materials they had available.
Mm-hmm.
But I may be wrong. And they really did enjoy that though. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing, Molly. And, I think, like just to ask further, is it that you feel with STEM activities, you feel like you need background knowledge? Is it that you don't feel confident in your background knowledge to do the STEM activity? Or is it that you just don't like doing STEM activities, which is also fine? We gravitate naturally towards certain things and over other things. But I'm curious to know what exactly that obstacle is with being uncomfortable with it, because I think a lot of people have that with STEM activities. So if anyone else has thoughts on that too, feel free to contribute.
I think too that if you have all the supplies put out and then it advertised that you have these out on such and such a day at such and such a time, and then the parents can bring the kids in and do the activities, and then maybe that would take the pressure off of somebody that maybe doesn't really have the science background. Just have it, do as if you want to do it, just have it available.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that
Yeah.
would help.
And I think regarding the scientific knowledge, you don't have to have all the answers to the questions that people ask. A lot of times, sometimes people will ask stuff and you say, I didn't really think about that. And I don't know, which is totally fine. And then you can say, let's look in the library collection to see if we can find something about that. So it's okay to, maybe you're doing something about um, building a skyscraper. And, none of us are architects, none of us have built a skyscraper before. And so people are asking questions, and it's okay to be like, I don't know, but we can find out. Let me quickly search for something. Let me look for a book on that. I think actually like a really good STEM activity inspires curiosity and makes people excited about a topic and makes them want to learn more. So if having the expertise or the scientific background is preventing you from feeling confident, it's okay to not have all the information. As long as you have a general idea, and you can sort of introduce the activity and let people know what the general scientific concepts are, then you can encourage them to do more research on their own or to do research together. So don't feel like you have to know all the answers to be good at STEM. I think actually when people are very engaged, that's when they ask more questions, and that's when they want to learn more. So. Any other challenges or obstacles? Okay, well, we can go on and I can share some of the resources that I have. I'll go through these here and then I'll show you what these actual websites look like. But these are some of the great resources for STEM and STEAM stuff. So Karen had mentioned the Star Library Network, so StarNet, which is really, really, really good. I would actually recommend starting there because they have a huge resource bank for activity ideas that you can search for. And you can filter by age, you can filter by topic, you can filter by time, amount of materials needed. It's very, very customizable. So, you know, if you just want some stuff to start with, some tried and true activities, the StarNet library website is really, really good for that. Also on here is the Show Me Librarian that has a bunch of different STEAM ideas. The Massachusetts Library System has a LibGuide on STEAM stuff. Web Junction has STEM and STEAM resources. There is a white paper, so just a research overview, kind of state of the field on STEAM programs and libraries. I think this is a little bit older, but still interesting to read. And then there's also the Reimagining School Readiness Activity Database. There's a ton of other stuff besides this. You know, you could probably just Google like New York Public Library STEM activities and find their actual schedule for what they're doing. That's another great way to see what STEM activities or activities in general might work, is just see what other libraries are doing. So pick any major library system and take a look at their programming schedule. Chances are they have some ideas there that you might be able to adapt or might help you brainstorm other ideas. Whenever someone asks me like, oh, do you have anything on this? I'm just like, Denver Public Library, what are they doing? And that's a great way to get the creative juices flowing. But let me show you what some of these actually look like. Let me go to StarNet. Oops, where'd it go? All right, there we go. So this is the StarNet library network. And let me drop this link into the chat box. And again, I would say this is your best place to start for great STEM activity ideas. So if you hover over the activities part, you can see there is the STEM activity clearinghouse. So I'm just going to click on that. And so you see that there's a few different options. You can browse and filter, you can view different collections, and you can view new items. Let's go ahead and click on browse and filter. And so you can see that there are 598 different activities here, which is really, really incredible. So you can see over on the left-hand side, there's all sorts of sorting mechanisms and filtering. So you can sort by age group, time to complete the activity, prep time, cost associated with the activity materials, difficulty level, et cetera, et cetera. And then here you can see that there is, you know, a picture, content area, and a broad overview of each activity. So let's see what this Can a Toaster Make Wind, what this says. So there's a brief description in this demo. Patrons investigate the source of wind by using a toaster to heat air while they observe its effect on a small aluminum foil kite. So similar to, I guess, you know, those sky lanterns where you light a candle and you like set that off into the sky, the heat making wind. You can see here, let's see. This is where you open the activity. And so there's a nice PDF here. And it has just a really clear laid out, like, here are the learning goals, here are the concepts that are covered. This is what you need. And here are books that you can, a reading list. So for the preparation, this is how you make the kite. It has safety information on here as well. And then, just suggestions on how you can facilitate the activity. So they pretty much give you anything that you might need, and they have ideas on how you can scale things up, scale things down, and then you can, of course, add things as needed as well. But all the activities are laid out in this way. Some of them have how-to videos. Some of them have, they have related links that you can include. And then they sometimes have reviews and people who've actually done it and talk about what worked and what didn't work. So this is an incredibly valuable resource, and you can just browse and look for all kinds of things. So again, almost 600 activities that you can look through. Chances are there's something in here that your patrons will enjoy. So that's StarNet. This is the Show Me Librarian, which is a popular blog that has activity ideas for libraries. So this is just all things STEAM. So they've organized it according to age group. So they have preschool, they have, I think this is maybe like kindergarten, then school age stuff, and then STEAM programs. So there's all kinds of stuff in here, great for browsing. Obviously not as much filtering and not as much sorting compared to StarNet, but again, a great place to start for brainstorming and just to start thinking about, maybe I want to try this, maybe I want to try that. So this is another great website. I will put this into the chat box. This is the Massachusetts Library System LibGuide on STEAM programs. So again, just another great collection overview of stuff that you can browse through. WebJunction also has a STEM and STEAM resources page, and in general, WebJunction is a great resource for librarians. They have incredibly high quality professional development. It's free. All their recordings are available. So I would encourage you to check out WebJunction in general, but they do have the STEM and STEAM webpage. Here is that white paper that I was telling you all about. Let me put that in here. So this is more sort of research focused in case you wanted to learn more about this. It is a little bit outdated. It's from 2016, but I think some of the stuff they talk about in here is still very relevant today. And then the last resource here is the Reimagining School Readiness Bay Area Discovery Museum Activity Resource Bank. So this is really great for exploratory process-based activities. So particularly for this collection of activities, you're not really focused on what you're producing. It's really focused on how are you producing it. So it encourages children to explore different methods of creation, of making, of analyzing. It really helps them understand the scientific method and encourages them to try new things and embrace failure and see what you can learn from it. So a lot of these activities, they also have really great ones for younger children. And I think some of these can also be aged up, but the Reimagining School Readiness Toolkit that the Bay Area Discovery Museum produced really focused on ages 0 to 8. So a lot of their stuff focuses on that age group. And so especially if you're trying to do STEM with younger children, this is a great resource. So an example, let's see. I think they have a lot of things on here. Let's look at finish the drawing. Let's see what this says. So yeah, they give you have a bunch of squiggly shapes and you can put that on paper, and then you can encourage people to make their own drawings and make a story about the drawing. So, you know, you have something structured and you have things that you can start off with, but then the participants are encouraged to take it in their own direction and try things out and see where it goes. So these are really, really fun activities. I know some of the librarians have used these and really enjoyed them, and they have a ton of these that you can look at. So this is another great resource as well. And did I put this already? Yes, I did. So yeah, and again, there's so much out there for STEM activities. And, you know, I think anything that just really encourages people to try something, see what works, redesign it, and try it again can be classified as a STEM activity. It doesn't have to be super high tech. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It can be, you know, the example that Karen shared with the balloon and the straw and a string. You know, trying that out, having people race, having people see which balloon goes faster. The setup can be fairly simple, but you're really encouraging people to ask questions, to observe what they're seeing, to make hypotheses, to try things out, to embrace failure, and to try again. So, you know, any activity that does that, I think could be classified as a STEM activity. And there are so many different ways that you can approach this. So, any questions about any of these resources? Any of your own that you would like to share? No other questions or comments? Okay, well, if there aren't any other comments or questions, I might just share one last thing. So just as a reminder, the food programming in libraries webinar is listed in Aspen here. Oh, here, let me make this a bit bigger, sorry. So you can see it's on the 22nd at 1 p.m. So let me drop this in the chat box. It's open to anybody. And again, if you even just have the slightest interest in food programming and want to learn more, this is a great webinar to go to. And then I also wanted to show the lifelong learning page on the Montana State Library website. So actually, let me go to the home page, which is msl.mt.gov. Does anyone know how to get to the lifelong learning page on the State Library website?
Go to the services to libraries.
Yes. Click on that. And you can see there is lifelong learning. So you just need to click here. And this page has everything that I am doing. So if you ever have questions about, wasn't Amelia talking about something or mentioning something, chances are it will probably be on this lifelong learning page. So it's a long page. It has everything. So it takes a bit of scrolling. But I did want to show you all the Montana State Library trunk program. So if you're ever interested in the trunk program, you just need to come to the lifelong learning page, and then you can learn about, you know, what is it, how to borrow it, what the usage and expectations are, and then the available trunks and their contents. So if you ever want to borrow a trunk program, and please do, we are trying to have these out of the library more than in the library. One, because we want people to use it, but also because we have limited space at the state library. But anything you need to know for how to request it, how to check what's available is here on this lifelong learning page. So, let me see, there's some chats. Austin, yes, the food programming webinar will be recorded and it will be posted on the YouTube channel. So no worries if you can't attend live. You can watch it on our YouTube channel. And Chris said, we have a question about universal class. We tried to use it and it doesn't work. We're told it was only a temporary time. And Chris, let's see, is your library part of Montana Library to Go? Yes. Okay. It is a little bit complicated to sign up for the first time, so chances are there might be some issues there. Chris, do you mind sending me an email and then we can talk a bit more about getting access? Thank you. So yeah, anything related to lifelong learning, anything that I am doing, I'm going to drop that link into the chat box. Chances are it's on this page and you just have to scroll to find it. All right. Any other questions before we end for the day? Ooh, the last thing that we need to do, I think the next Children and Youth Services meetup is April 26th, and you all get the privilege of deciding on the topic for next month. So is there any burning question, topic, idea that you'd like to explore in April?
This is Molly. For certification, we have those 4 separate categories.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have some tech, but I think there's one is it library collections or collections development?
Collection development, yeah.
Yeah, and I do not have anything there. But I think we've talked about this even for the children's library. So could
Yeah.
we do a meetup that would work for that too?
Yeah, I mean, we could do collection development again. I don't know if you want to talk about collection development generally, collection development policies, purchasing, any specific aspect, or just general collection development for children?
For me, it could just be general, but what do other people think? Because, it's all new to me, but
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Austin says, I like Molly's idea about the general collection development. Cool. If no one is opposed to that, that is what we will choose for April. And I will say I don't have a ton of experience personally with collection development. So chances are I'll probably just come with questions. And then it would be good, I think, for people just to compare how they do collection development and see how that goes. So my impressions are with collection development, there's not really like a wrong way to do it. There's so many different ways that you can approach it. So perhaps just come prepared to talk about the way that you do it and learn about how other libraries do it as well. Any last questions before we end? All right. Well, I will go ahead and stop the recording.